Hello, people. I have returned back. Been a bit AWOL, but today we're here again with Mr. Stephen Box, and we're going to talk about and get you guys ready at the table so you don't feel like a noob. So when someone says something like "you're whack" or how much CP you've got, rather than thinking what's going on, you are fully prepared, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Urban Dictionary of Warhammer 40k.
Love it. Let's do it. Now, we don't have the full comprehensive list, but there will be a guide and a download that you can check out below, and we can keep adding to this.
100%.
So if we've missed one, put it below. Comment.
And better still, if any of these resonate with any of your gameplays and you got any funny stories regarding a certain word or phrase, tag us in the description.
Yeah.
Drop a comment below, and then let's cause a discussion.
Yeah. And hopefully, if you're brand new to Warhammer 40,000, this is going to be the perfect dictionary for you, so you don't feel like you're not in the conversation. You can be part of the in-jokes or the in-language, right? The in-jargon. And this is exactly what this video is going to be doing. Right, so we're going to go through. These are somewhat in alphabetical order.
Have you seen this list already?
Yes.
Are you confident that you know all of them?
Well, I wrote it.
Oh, right. So you know all of them.
Yeah, and I actually used the Vanguard Tactics Discord community to help me as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and I just pulled it all together.
Sweet. Okay.
So the first one is activation.
Activation. Okay.
What's that?
So if someone says to me, I'm doing an activation, that might be they're selecting a certain unit to activate first?
Yep, so it could be like to fight or shoot, something along those lines.
Cool.
They're basically going to do something. All right, the next one is an action monkey. What's an action monkey?
Okay, so the way I'd say an action monkey is maybe units that you have, which is just basically cheap units that are there just to maybe do an action, hold an objective.
That's it. They're just there to do an action. Ablative wound.
Not a clue.
Okay, so an ablative wound is basically when you've got a character, a really powerful character, and you've just purchased a unit to go with it, and it's ablative wounds. It's like extra wounds for that character because they don't do anything. They're simply there to keep your character alive longer.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah, so they're called ablative wounds.
Yeah,
okay,
cool.
The next one is called an alpha strike.
Alpha strike. I've heard people say alpha strike, but I'll allow you to.
So normally an alpha strike is much more common in previous editions when the first turn you could do like mass amounts of damage. Okay. So like you drop in with a drop pod, like you drop in right outside their opponent's lines, or an alpha strike could be a super fast gunline army that managed to cut loads of angles, and the alpha strike is the first turn, loads of damage.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
All right, it's like a Gene Stealer unit with a Brood Lord. And scout that unit up. That's an alpha strike unit.
Well, I've definitely done a full alpha strikes in my time.
Okay. All right, so anti-meta.
Anti-meta. Okay, so this is basically a list or a unit that will be against what is currently in right now.
Yeah.
So if there's an army or a list that's out there that everyone's using because he's really powerful or certain abilities, this list or unit that's anti-meta should negate the effects or the strength of that list, maybe?
100%. AOC.
Armour of Contempt.
Yes, Armour of Contempt. Armour of Contempt is basically a stratagem that reduces incoming armour penetration by 1. Now, it's used in a lot of other armies as well, rather than just Space Marines, and it's been called a different name.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they say, "Oh, have you got Armour of Contempt?" and people know what it is. Okay.
Yeah, AOC.
So we've then got, what is an auto take?
An auto take is something that everybody has an auto take in their list, and it's something that regardless of what detachment you play, this character, unit, model, tank, vehicle, whatever it might be, has to go in that list.
It's so good you have to take it.
Exactly.
And obviously,
auto
like
take.
Sometimes detachments are somewhat, this is an auto include in this detachment,
Yep.
and sometimes an army is just an auto take. Love
exactly,
it.
Yeah.
We've then got blessings rolls.
Blessing roll. Is that like people just kind of scapegoating Khorne's blessing rolls where you maybe do like a roll for like fate dice or miracle dice or...
Yeah, like could be. So World Eaters have got like a blessings roll, like Creations of Bile, I believe. You roll
but Khorne's roll, it's actually called...
Blessings.
Yeah, blessings.
And that's where it's come
from. And
from.
they've just kind of taken it and blanketed it across.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so basically, if you've got like an army rule or a detachment rule which requires you to roll dice and get an ability, it's got like a blessings roll.
Yeah,
okay, bottom level blocks.
I've not heard of this one.
Okay.
Bottom level blocks.
Yep. So I'll tell you what it refers to. Back in the day, when we had terrain with loads of windows in it.
Okay, yeah.
But there wasn't the obscuring keyword. What we would say is bottom level blocks. So if you were in the bottom level of the terrain, even though there were windows and you could see through it,
Yeah.
it was like an imaginary force field, like imaginary blocked off. All right.
Okay, cool.
So you couldn't see through it. Okay. So bracketed.
Bracketed is basically when your character or monster falls below maybe 5 wounds, I think it normally is.
Like a threshold, yeah.
A threshold, and it becomes bracketed, which means
It gets worse.
Yeah, it gets worse. Like
Sometimes
less
better
attacks.
though. On a rare
Sometimes,
occasion,
yeah.
better. But yeah, basically, when a unit hits a certain wound characteristic,
Yeah.
it can be better or worse. They also have an Age of Sigmar as well.
I think it's normally between 1 or 4 wounds. If it falls below that, then it's bracketed.
Yeah. Right. What is a brick?
A brick. The way I would describe a brick is if you've got 5 Terminators, you've got 5 Terminators. But if you've got 10 Terminators, 10. But if you've got 10 Terminators, you've got to have a brick of 10. Or if you're running like Hummergaunts, 10, they're like meh. But if you've got 20, you've got a brick of 20.
It's a brick of 20. It's sturdy.
Yeah.
It's robust.
Something that's hard to chew through.
Hard to kill. Yeah.
A brick.
Right. Bubble wrapping.
Not a clue.
So bubble wrapping could be like you've got a really cool unit that you just need to keep alive, and you bubble wrap it with a load of rubbishy units to keep it alive.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so like Morvian Vow, Paragon Warsuit surrounded by Arcoflagellants, you bubble wrapped it.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, stop it from being charged. What about castling?
Castling.
Yeah.
Castling.
Castling.
Castling. Castling.
Sure.
Castling. Comments below who's right. Castling. Castling. Castling, Stephen.
Yeah, what is it?
Basically the way I see it is where you want to just fortify and just put as much stuff onto your home point as possible to say you ain't taking this.
Yeah, or like clumping units together so they can all protect each other.
Yeah.
Like heroic interventions and stuff, right? Okay, the casino cannon. What is the casino cannon?
Well, normally, in my experience, referred to the rupture cannon, where it's basically 2 shots. It could either go, I don't want to say the next word because it flows onto that, but it could either go good or bad for you. But if it pays off, it's like a casino. It is
Big money.
big money. Exactly
Yeah, the
that,
casino cannon. I think became famous because of the Sagittar.
Yeah.
In basically what would happen, it had sustained hits D3.
Mm-hmm.
So if you rolled a 6 to hit, it would then potentially give you a load more extra hits. Okay.
Yeah.
So like that sort of casino, wildly inconsistent, essentially. Okay, chaff.
Chaff are units that are there literally just to either hold an objective or bog down your opponent, or just send in so you can just like get rid of them so you can, distract your opponent to do something else, basically.
Maybe they soak up an Overwatch.
Yeah.
They might do an action for you. They're just a bit of chaff. All right, this is your favourite, and I know you love it.
Oh, go on.
It's cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Are we talking Baby Bell? Are we talking cheese strings? Are we
Philadelphia?
talking
No, we're
Philadelphia?
talking an overly effective or efficient unit. Like, that's cheesy. Yeah, that's a bit of cheese, that.
Is that a good word?
Well, not really. Like, it was kind of back in the day when if somebody took it was like if you took a competitive list
Yeah.
to a friendly game,
Yeah.
that's cheesy.
Oh, so for me, that's sweaty.
Sweaty cheese, yeah,
Sweaty
similar.
cheese.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Yes.
you're trying to like gain an advantage because
Yeah,
of it.
sweaty.
Yeah.
Sweaty cheese. Okay.
All right, and then you've got like colloquial, so like whatever your sort of local languages for army names. So a few examples could be like crons. Who are the
Yeah.
crons?
Necrons.
Okay.
Nids.
Who are the banana boys?
Not a clue.
Custodes. Because
Right.
they've got yellow banana-based helmets.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Guard.
Imperial Guard. Well,
Yep.
they're not even called Imperial Guard anymore, but they're like what?
Sisters.
Sisters, yeah. Sorosis, Adeptus, yeah.
Eldar.
Eldari,
Yeah. Dark Eldar.
Drukari,
Well done. Quins.
Harlequins.
See what I mean? It's just like the shortened
Yeah.
names, basically. All right. CPs. How many
CP.
CPs you got?
Well, currently none, so I'm not playing the game, but it's command points.
And what can you use command points for?
Stratagems.
Okay. Nice. What's a crutch unit?
A crutch unit is, I've never heard this. I've heard the term crutch unit, but not in my against my opponents. It's basically just propped you up. It's come in handy and saved you. Come in crutch.
Well,
Clutch.
that's clutch.
That's clutch.
Crutch is what I'm referring to, and that's when you've got like, do you know the assassin that's got uppy downy, which we'll come on to
Oh, the
later?
Calidus, yeah?
Yeah, it's like the thing that just goes in every list, and it's a bit of a crutch. It's just
Okay.
like you know, like wardens in a custodian's army,
Yeah,
they're a bit
yeah,
of a
yeah.
crutch.
Oh,
you know,
right, okay.
Canis Rex, when he can just go into anything, he's really good. Bit of a
Okay.
crutch, you know?
So a crutch, not a clutch.
Exactly. And we're going to have a quick word from our first sponsor of today. As a wargamer, you're going to know how important dice are to the game. You're going to know the memories that they create, whether they're good, the bad, the sixes, the ones. The most important thing is having quality memories with your friends. And it goes even further when you've got dice that match the theme of your army. Whether you play Ultramarines, Necrons, Orcs, Chaos Marines, it really doesn't matter. And the dice are a massive aspect of that. And it's my pleasure to announce our sponsor, the Baron of Dice. Right, we're back, and it's Dakar.
Dakar.
What's
D
Dakar?
for Dakar. Something that's just got loads of firepower, loads of shots, and it's taken from the orcs. Dakar.
What's the data slate?
Data slates. Well, your basic, you can't, your abilities or your information in.
That's your data sheet.
That's your data sheet.
The data slate is Games Workshop's like regular balance
of
update
course,
document.
like your art and stuff.
That's like the data slate.
Yeah, of course.
What's the data slate? Yeah.
Yeah.
Devs.
Dev wounds.
Devastating wounds. Yeah. Distraction Carnifex.
A unit, which I think is ridiculous. A unit that's like maybe a bloodthirster or like something really big that people just send in. It's normally costs a lot of points. It's really scary data sheets that people like send in to try and distract them from scoring units to go, ha ha, my plan worked. You've killed my 400-point model, Stephen. But it was my distraction Carnifex.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But it works really well somewhat when there's a cheap unit that somebody just has to deal with.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I don't deal with this now, I might not want to because maybe I need to do actions. Maybe there's other units I have to kill. Maybe there's objectives I need to be on. But this horrible big thing is just in the way.
Yeah.
And you've got to get rid of
I
it.
think it can be a good thing as well because if you want to if you want to move a Norn onto an objective to get the extra OC and you know they've got a really scary Overwatch, you could then move some chaff units, as you spoke about before, to try and bait out that Overwatch to protect your distraction Carnifex.
Yeah.
But at that point,
what's
then,
a Norn?
A Norn.
You used the word Norn. What's that?
It's a Norn emissary.
Which is a Tyrannid monster.
Tyrannid monster. Yeah.
All right. Okay. What's a Deny Bubble?
Deny Bubble.
Yeah.
A unit or a character that has something that denies abilities or reduces an effects.
Yeah. Or it could even be like
OC or something.
Got a Deny Bubble so you can't deep strike.
Yeah. Like the Infiltrators.
Yeah.
Or you've got those units that reduce OC within 6-inch aura.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. What's a Dud unit?
A Dud unit would
It's a
probably
dud.
be a unit that is just terrible. Didn't do very well.
Looks good on paper, but not great.
Yeah.
Right. Exploding 5s or exploding 6s.
Basically, that is a critical hit. Some units or data sheets allow you to
Get sustained hits.
Yeah, sustained hits on 5 or lethal hits on 5.
Mm-hmm. And basically what that means is a exploding hit would mean it explodes into multiple shots. You roll one dice for one shot, but if you roll a 5, if it says you make a critical hit on a 5, that'd be exploding 5s, or exploding 6s would be 6s, and then that generates you an extra hit. So you roll one dice, but you get 2 hits.
Yeah.
Okay. What's an FNP?
Feel no pain.
All right, nice. And a feel no pain is the type of save that happens after an armor or invulnerable save.
Has failed, yeah.
Just like a shrug. It's also known as a shrug. Like, what's your shrug? Oh, I got a 5-up shrug.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's a feel bad or gotcha moment?
Feel bad or gotcha moment. That's basically when you're in the lift and I drop an SBD, no one knows what's going on, but then you start chewing on something, and I'm like, gotcha, and that feels bad.
It tastes bad. Smells bad.
Nah.
It's a surprise.
Exactly. Surprise.
It's a surprise interaction.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that now.
No,
and then you feel like, oh, great. Okay.
Or you've done something and your opponent's not made you aware of maybe an reactive move and it's changed the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really.
All right, nice.
Really good.
Okay, so fishing. And you go fishing.
So fishing is like, let's say you're hitting or you're looking for, like we said earlier, crits or dev wounds, and you've got like a reroll hits or reroll wounds. It's just a term that we use to just reroll all those dice to try and look for those 5s or 6s.
Even if they were a successful hit or wound, you pick them up and re-roll them because you're looking for those critical hits.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Flat damage.
Flat damage is normally a profile where it's not D6 or D3, and it's like normally like a flat 3 or flat 5 or flat 6, where it's just straight up.
Here's the damage.
Here's the damage.
There's no rolling involved. Here's the damage.
Yeah.
It's flat 3.
But I've noticed people only really say it when it's flat, when it's 3 or above.
Yeah.
You don't say flat 2, just go 2 damage. But if it's flat 3, it's flat 3.
Yeah, because it's not D3.
Not D3.
It's flat 3.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, we're going to flip an objective.
When you've just taken it from them, or you've sticked something, or
Yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah.
When you flip an objective is when basically you controlled it. Now I control it. We flip that objective.
You've AOC'd them all of it.
There's one I want to put in under B.
Go on.
Going to burn a card.
Ah, yeah.
What's burning a card?
It's when you just pull out your lighter, and just burn it,
Cover it in shaving foam.
cover and shake the foam. Yeah,
Who knew they were actually flammable?
exactly. And you just set fire.
No, it's not that. It's when you draw your cards and you're like, I don't like this one, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay? Burn a card.
Burn
All
a
right,
card.
so we've then got flip a dice.
Flipper dice is when a character or a unit can just, like Eldar, they have that, whatever his name is.
Yep.
You can just turn a failed dice into a 6.
Yep, you can turn any result you want into a 6 or any other sort of specific result.
Exactly.
Okay, what you're going to focus fire, what you doing?
You're basically just choosing a unit and you're going to just put everything that you can with visible line of sight into that unit and just focus that unit down.
Yep. Okay.
Pew, pew.
What's the opposite of focus fire? It would come under S in our language. So you shoot everywhere. What are you doing with a unit?
Spraying.
Split fire.
All right.
So you've got focus fire, then you've got split fire.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a gatekeeper list?
A gatekeeper is when you've got the ultimate creme de la creme list and you're like, no, Stephen, I'm not showing you my list because I'm being a gatekeeper.
No, it's not that, but I like it.
That's gatekeeper. What?
That's gatekeeping.
Okay.
A gatekeeper list is like a list designed to kind of beat the unprepared players,
Well, that's me then, isn't it?
but it's not going to probably go on to win the tournament. It's not like well-rounded enough to take on everybody.
Okay.
It's just like sometimes like it can be. I think it's now moved towards more of a stat check. Is normally what
I've heard of stat check.
Yeah, and we'll come on to that one later. But I think it's like a term that we used to use a lot more before.
Gatekeeping.
Like Imperial Knights were a gatekeeper list. You'd expect it to go 4 in 1, 3 in 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like if you didn't have the, and it's now just been sort of renamed to a stat checklist.
No, sweet.
Okay, gun line.
Gun line is, I can refer to that because I actually run a tyranny gun line. It is a army that is primarily made up of shooting models.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going to kill you from ranged. Right. Before we move on to the next one, we're going to have a quick word from our next sponsor. It's my pleasure to announce that Army Painter have sponsored Vanguard Tactics. We've decided to collaborate with Army Painter because they've made the process of painting your models so simple. From their Fanatic range to help you identify your shadow, mid and light tones, to their wet palettes that make the application of paint so much smoother. The process has never been simpler. So if you're looking to upgrade your painting skills today and have the tools at your disposal to help that process, then check out the Army Painter. All right, Lee.
We are back.
We've got glass cannon or a glass hammer unit or army.
Something that is really squishy but hits hard, like, for example, them Berserkers in Votan.
Okay.
They've got no save, but they got like flat 3 damage. Or something
Eldar,
ridiculous.
like fire dragons.
Oh, yeah.
Fire
Squishy, but
dragons, they'll kill something super easy, but
die very fast.
Die very fast as well.
Yeah.
Hero hammer.
A hero hammer.
You heard that?
No.
So hero hammer is like an army composition when basically it's just a list predominantly around heroes. So
Okay.
like, you know, some like demon armies at the moment,
Yeah.
just the big heroes, the big greater demons.
Oh, sweet.
Like
Hero
or,
hammer, cool.
You know, that's more, you could like monster mash,
No, yeah.
or car park where you've just got loads of vehicles.
Yeah.
It's a car park. If you've just got loads of characters, it's like a hero hammer. If you've got loads of just big monsters, monster mash. Yeah.
Well, there you go. We're learning something.
There we go. Ignore mods. What are you doing?
Ignore mods is, again, an ability or aura where anything that has +1 to hit, -1 to wound, what it might be, this unit or ability negates that.
Don't care.
Doesn't care.
You're just rolling your normal dice, yeah.
Exactly.
Right. LOS.
Line of sight.
Yeah, and what does that mean? What does the line of sight mean?
It means that when you're shooting phase, if you can actually see your model, the majority of it's base to base, and then that goes into like if it gets cover. Yeah.
So we got LOS blocking or obscuring.
And that's when there's LOS blocking is when there's a piece of terrain completely in front of it and you can't draw a straight line from base to base to the model.
Nice.
And line of sight blocking is when you can, or obscuring is when you can only see like maybe half of the model, which means that model then that you're shooting at will get cover.
Well, an obscuring piece of terrain would be the first one. They're the same. Line of sight blocking terrain or obscuring terrain. Yeah. If a model is obscured, then you might get the benefits cover though.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So we're now on to meta. We've had anti-meta, but what is the meta?
What is the meta? You're looking at him. I am the meta.
Oh.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Now, meta is...
I mean, I think the meta can somewhat vary.
Yeah.
Like you could have a local meta. So if you've got like 10 players in your local club and 5 of them play Imperial Knights, 4 of them play Chaos Knights,
Yeah.
your meta is high, big, tough things with loads of wounds, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Or you could be in a meta with loads of Space Marine armies, whether they're Space Marines, maybe you've got 1,000 some player in there, you've got some World Eaters, some Death Guard, some Blood Angels, and you're in a Marine meta, right?
Yeah, so it's something that's doing very well, popular, and everyone's taking because they've had success with it.
Yeah, like a tournament meta might be what's really, really strong and competitive, but your local meta could be just what's common.
Exactly,
Yep.
yeah.
Right, what is the MFM?
MFM.
Yeah.
I feel like I might know what it is, but go on, what is the MFM?
You do know. It's the Minotaurum Field Manual. This is a document that changes all the points, or a bit like the data slate, similar sort of thing. Basically, when Games Workshop come out and go, hey, here's the new MFM, and here's some sort of FAQs and rule changes and whatnot.
Cool, yeah.
Okay?
MFM.
Right, what is a midboard bully?
A midboard bully is maybe a unit or a character that excels in the midboard. An army that would be a midboard bully would be like a Death Guard because they're just really durable, really tanky,
bit slow,
and hard to shift from the midboard.
Right, mission play.
Mission play. Well, isn't that self-explanatory?
Yeah, I think it's more like I'm just going to play the mission.
So you don't care about shooting, don't care about charging, doing any damage. You're just there just to play the mission.
Yeah, get a card, score a card. Don't worry about shooting or just score points. Okay, what's movement shenanigans?
Movement shenanigans?
Or just shenanigans in general.
Yeah, that's basically Eldar right there and then. Or Drukhari.
Okay.
Anything army-wise, ability-wise, unit-wise, where you could do something and then move again. So maybe you had a normal move and then you've shot like normal and then you can then move again or reactive move.
Mm-hmm.
Something that allows you to move outside of the movement phase, I think, is a movement shenanigan. Yeah,
I mean, like you could have a combat shenanigan, could allow you to like pile in additional directions or inches.
Or fight twice.
Yeah.
Or fight on death or whatever.
Any sort of like a shenanigan is something that operates outside the normal rules of the game.
Yeah.
MSU.
MSU is basically people taking small units of 5, so 5-man squads.
So the minimum, it's, or what you're referring to is the minimum unit size. So it means an army can be multiple small units. So like, it could be lots of blade guard, but they come in 3s. So it's whatever the minimum is, you just take loads of it.
Exactly.
And the way that wins the game is it can do lots of actions. It's got lots of activations.
Yeah.
It's loads of little things that you now have to deal with.
It's hard for your opponent to dedicate and focus fire on multiple units opposed to having maybe a brick, as we said, of one big unit.
Yeah, it means that what often happens against an MSU army is you end up overkilling each one.
Yeah.
But if they were a brick, then the damage would keep spilling until you've killed it all.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, what is a non-negotiable?
A non-negotiable? Is that something that goes into your list that
Could be.
Like...
Yeah.
Has to go in there.
We use this a lot of Vanguard tactics. Like if you've got a non-negotiable that goes in your army list, it might not be an auto take. It might just be your favourite model. Non-negotiable for me, my Helbrecht has to go in my army, for example. Or your non-negotiable objective is the one that I'm always going to hold and I'm not going to let you take it from me.
Okay, yeah.
Right, what's a nerf?
A nerf is an effect to a data sheet or an ability where maybe you've played in one edition and it had like a really high damage weapon and then it gets nerfed, so changed, where maybe it's not as strong as it used to be, and they've done a nerf to try and balance it out.
Yeah. So basically when a unit's reducing effectiveness by rule or points changes. What's OC? What's your OC on that, mate?
OC is your objective control. It's what, the more OC you have is what determines whether you hold a point or not.
Hold the objective, yeah.
Exactly.
And you normally refer to that in like the total. So if I said to you, what's your OC on that? You'd count up all the models, you'd do the math for me, and you'd give me the hard number, wouldn't you, that I need to build?
Yep.
All right. Overkill.
Overkill is very similar to what you're saying just about the MSU, where you need to deal with a unit and you've had to overcommit just to kill it, and you've overkilled it.
You've overcommitted, you've overkilled, yeah. I like it. Right, what's a bunch of paperweights?
A bunch of paperweights.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Just like, so here it's expensive units that do nothing all game.
Yeah.
They're just pretty models on the board. That's the paperweight.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to go and play in grey,
when you're just painting with, you're playing with unpainted models.
we've got here, what's a point sink?
A point sink.
Yeah.
I've not heard that one.
So a model on upgrade that costs too many points for the value it brings.
All
Bit of a point. It's a bit of a point sink, but I like it.
Yeah.
It could be like that. Right. What is I'm adding this one on the fly because it's under P. What is a proxy?
A proxy is when you're using another model that's normally it has to be on the same base size, which is basically like a token or I was about to say proxy, which is basically like you're using as a replacement because you maybe don't own the model.
So I could be like, this bottle of water is actually counts as Marnius Calgar.
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah,
so every time
cool.
I move this around, this is Marnius Calgar. It's a proxy.
It's a proxy.
It's a counts as. Okay. Right. And then we've got like a pump.
I've not heard this one. You mentioned to me earlier.
Or I think most commonly termed as like a buffing unit, or you've stacked the unit. What have you done?
Yeah, so maybe again that you've applied maybe a stratagem, or you've got an aura ability and it's stacked and it's now like overcharged. Pump, that just sounds weird.
Gonna pump it up, mate.
Pump it up. Nah.
Got to bump it up. Okay. Right. What's a move block or roadblock unit?
A move block, again, going to a new player, is I would use my gargoyles with their movement shenanigans to enable me to fly over, spread out wide, and just stop my opponent from moving. So I've move blocked them.
Yeah. You can, I think like a sub one to this is you can put someone in jail.
Yeah.
So you can literally stop them from moving outside their deployment zone by just spreading your models in a way that puts them in jail, basically. They can't get out, they can't get to the objectives, and they can't get to you.
That's another one, isn't it? Jailing your opponent,
yeah. Reactive move.
That's, what we said earlier about movement shenanigans. It's a unit that has an ability to move either D6 or flat 6 or use a stratagem once I've moved within 9 of your model.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe some sort of other weird little you make a fallback move, it does it. Maybe it's in combat or something. Right, what's the rule of cool?
The rule of cool, never heard of it. Maybe I'm obviously not cool, so Stephen?
So I'm taking this because it's the rule of cool. Basically means it's absolute hot garbage in terms of its rules competitively, but it looks good, I've painted it, and you've basically take it for that reason.
The rule of cool.
You also get like fresh paint syndrome.
Okay, so you have to play a model because you painted it last.
No.
Okay.
Normally, whatever you're really proud of because you've just painted it will die instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll be because your opponent goes, killing that then. You've obviously painted that for a reason.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Just paint this beautiful Space Marine Gladius Reaper. What are you doing?
I'm doing that now.
You're shooting it.
If I pair you at any tournament and I see something looks pretty, it's dying first.
Yeah, I'm going to add that new paint syndrome. I love this. We're adding them as we go.
New paint syndrome.
Yeah, new paint syndrome. Salty.
That's me. Salty.
This is the definition
I
dictionary
am
here.
salty. Yeah, salt and pepper with chips. Salty is. Didn't you have another name for it then?
Well, no, salty is a player who gets visibly upset or passive aggressive over the gameplay, dice rolls, or outcomes.
Well, I don't lose, so I can't get salty. Or was that tumbleweed?
Yeah.
Yeah, salty. So a player that's just not being.
Armor dice.
Yeah, not being a grammar. No, that's not salty.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's what a salty player would say.
Screen.
Very similar to move blocking. It's when you're using your movement abilities and your units to maybe stop a deep strike or to maybe limit a reactive move.
Yeah, you could screen out an objective to stop somebody moving onto it.
Yeah.
So you could screen out an area so people can't be in it, whether it's deep striking or whatever. the old shoot and scoot.
Very similar to movement shenanigans. It's an ability where Eldar or Gargoyles, they can shoot and they can move, shoot, and then move again.
So yeah, once you've shot your unit at something, you can then move it again. So yeah, shoot and scoot. You normally can't charge after. That's normally like the limitation. Or you could have like a fight and scoot as well, where you fight in the fight phase, then scoot away.
And here's another one, because if it could do that, it'd go B for broke.
Broke. It's broke. That is your phrase for sure. That is broke.
Yeah.
Okay, shooty, punchy, blender, chaff. Terms to describe unit roles, basically. Obviously, shooty's a ranged unit.
Yeah.
Punchy, hits hard in combat. Blender does loads of damage, like lots of attacks, like volume, basically. Yeah. I think, like, there's another one as well I'm going to add in, like death by 1,000 cuts. Heard of that one before?
Exactly. So basically something that's got no AP, low strength, or like really weak flamers that just give you so many dice that you die hard off volume rather
Drowning saves. That's another one, isn't it? Yeah. I'm adding these in. I love it.
Drowning saves.
You're going to just drown in saves.
Bucket of dice. Give them buckets of dice.
Yeah, a bucket of dice. Yeah, we could add in a bucket of dice.
Bucket of dice.
See, guys, we're just adding to it as we go. So we've then got soft scores. What's that?
A soft score?
Yeah, so you're at a competition and you get soft scores. So back in the day, you used to, when you go to tournaments, you were judged not just on your playing ability, but how sporting you were, and also how well painted your army was. Sometimes it's like, have you given your army a backstory? Have you given people chocolates at the table? Like all the other ways you could score points.
Right.
The only soft scores now are having a painted army. For example, 10th edition, you get 10 points for having a painted army.
So basically, what you're saying is the players that aren't actually good at the game, that bribe their opponents with chocolates
and sweets.
Sure. So I'm a salty soft player.
You're a salty soft player, yeah.
I'm a salty soft scorer.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, Anyway, so spiking. So you spike a roll.
Yeah. Is when you roll dice and you expect to get average of, say, half of it, if they hit on 4s, let's say, and you've just absolutely made every single success, which is...
You can spike your dice.
Spike your dice, yeah.
Yeah, you can spike your dice. Maybe you were looking for some 4s and you've got all 6s. Now they're now all crit hits.
Yep.
You've spiked it. It's all popped off. Right, you're going to split fire. We've covered that earlier, when a unit basically shoots at multiple targets. Yep. A stat check is a matchup when your opponent's brought one particular type of characteristic, whether it's models, wounds, toughness, saving throws, something in a large volume. So it could be like 100 orcs. It could be Imperial Knights.
Yeah. And it's a stat check because your opponent maybe doesn't have the damage output to deal with the toughness, or they doesn't have the volume of shots to deal with the amount of bodies.
Or they might have one unit dedicated to killing Horde, like 100 bodies, but then all the other shots are wasted. Or vice versa, if they were playing Knights, they might have one unit dedicated towards killing vehicles, but then the rest of the guns that were designed to kill infantry are just somewhat useless.
Exactly.
Right. It's gone straight through, mate. What's happened?
Straight through. Basically, no saves allowed. Maybe you've got dev wounds, or you've got no armor save because the AP is too high and you've got no save against it.
Yeah.
It's gone straight through, literally.
Different to follow through.
Very similar to like the SBD moment we spoke about in the lifts.
Never follow through.
You've had a few curries. It's just gone straight through. Gotcha. Surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a term you could use to describe something that is a bit unreliable due to random dice.
Something. Say that again.
So a unit or a mechanic that is unreliable due to random outcomes. What is it?
Swingy.
It's swingy. Jordan uses this expression for everything.
Yeah, swingy.
He could have the most consistent unit ever, but he'll say it's swingy.
Swingy is like where it's got absolutely incredible damage.
Potential
damage with 2 shots, and then you foul both of them.
Let me give you an example here. Like The Exorcist. D6 number of shots. Yeah.
Yep.
Hits on 3s. Strength 10. So it's into some targets like a 4. Sometimes it's a 5. Sometimes it's a 3. And then the damage is also D6. So it's like D6 shots. So like the minimum damage could be, or none, obviously. Or it could be right the way up to like 36.
Yeah, literally.
From one, in activation.
Yeah.
So massively swingy. Right, you've been tabled, mate.
Tabled is when you've just absolutely destroyed every single model on that table and they don't even have anything left.
Gone.
Tabled.
You've been tabled.
Normally me by turn 2.
What,
But
what are you doing if you're table flipping?
for table flipping,
Yeah, if you table flip, what is that?
when you're just basically salty and you've raged and you flip the table,
You rage quit.
but you're okay actually because you've been tabled, so your models aren't on the table at that point.
Flip it.
So you just flip it.
Flip it, yeah.
So basically, you've tabled your opponent as well.
Don't do that, guys. That's not VT approved.
That's all.
Target priority.
When you come in and you know that you need to get rid of a certain unit because it could be damaged for you or game winning for them, so you're just going to write everything needs to go into that and you're going to prioritize that.
I've just thrown the game.
Yeah.
What's happened now?
You've thrown the game because you've done something stupid or forgot to do something, and that one thing has cost you the game, basically.
All right. On that note, what's a go back?
A go back for salty table flipper players. A go back is when you forgot to do something and you've asked your opponent, oh, do you mind if I just go back? Or in my fight phase, well, I forgot to do this in my command phase. No, absolutely not.
You've gone too far.
It's too far back, yeah.
I think we can have a whole discussion about like acceptable amounts of go backs
Yeah.
and an acceptable level of go backs. But
Yeah.
normally I would say just on the, while we're talking about it, I'm normally fine with a go back providing that it's in the same phase
Exactly.
or that we haven't seen any
The outcome.
information. So
Yeah.
information could be I've used a stratagem in between, you've rolled a dice, I've rolled a dice. Normally because then that might have changed the outcome or decisions
Exactly, yeah.
made. Yeah.
If it's
And I
some-
think that's
yeah.
then fair. Like,
Exactly.
oh, hey, you've moved a model. Oh, actually, do you mind if I go back and move it somewhere else? Well, did we know, can we both agree where it was originally? Yeah, it was touching that terrain. Yeah, I agree with that. Or it was on that objective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, go back and move it somewhere else. Happy with that.
See, and there's also things as well where, let's say, we spoke about it earlier, reactive move. If you've moved towards me and I forgot to do my reactive move and now you're 3 inches away, and I've got, oh, I forgot to do my reactive move, do you mind it? It's annoying for you, but it's not something that it's not like I've done something out of game.
No.
I can actually do that.
Yeah, you did end a move there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've then got your tilt. You've tilted.
Tilted.
Have you heard of that? If you tilt.
I've heard of this phrase.
So
tilted.
a tilt is when a player becomes emotionally affected by the game. So you've lost a key unit and you've tilted. You're a bit jaded.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a bit. You're not focused anymore.
Yes,
You've
basically
tilted.
very similar to, like, let's say Jordan loses Dante.
Jordan loses Dante.
Yeah.
Full tilt,
Yeah.
loses it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was playing with him. I killed Dante, so I thought I know he likes him, and he just was emotionally just gone. I was like, "You're right, Jordan."
Killed Dante, mate.
He's just gone.
Gone. Yep. Right. What's a toolbox unit?
A toolbox unit. Maybe. Well, I've never heard of it, but I can try and guess what it means.
Go on.
Maybe jack of all trades, master of none. Something that can do a bit of everything.
Well, it could be a master of a bit of everything, yeah.
Like, so he can shoot, he can fight, he can hold objectives. He's quite tanky.
Yeah.
Basic custodes.
Yeah. Custodian guard, got a good bit of shooting, good bit of combat, good
Yeah.
bit of objective control. They're like a toolbox
Durable,
unit. Yeah,
definitely, yeah.
Bit of everything, right? Okay, trading.
Trading is when we can either there's good trading and there's bad trading, but
Of course.
the term trading is when you try and trade, or if you lose a model, you try and kill something in equal kind of point costs. Or
Yeah, so maybe there's a 100-point unit out that you've put on an objective,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to trade with it. So I'm going to try and kill it with a 75-point unit.
Exactly, yeah.
So it means then
you're trading up.
I'm trading up.
Yeah.
And then I've got a 75-point unit out.
Yeah.
Now you've got to come and kill me with your 125-point unit, and now you're trading down.
Exactly.
Yep. So it's a
Exactly.
trading game when you're just literally swapping points for points.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of damage. All right. Trash.
That's me.
Well, it's just you are trash.
I'm just trash.
No, it's when a unit's underpowered, but you take it because it's going to do some. It's a bit trash, but a bit like chaff, similar sort of vibe. All right.
Yeah. But you need it just to do actions or hold objectives, where it might be, but it's trash.
So the next one is try points. I'm going to try point you.
Never heard of that in my life.
So this was a technique that you used to use to stop people falling back, because before in previous editions you couldn't move through enemy models falling back
Like a wrap.
like a wrap, okay?
okay.
But you could do it with 3 bases providing that you put them in a perfect triangle.
Oh, a tri-point. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
because if you put them in a perfect triangle with incoherency, you couldn't move that model through.
Yeah, because they'd fall within engagement range.
Bingo.
That's clever. Tri-point.
Yeah, so you can wrap a unit just with 3 bases. Okay. Anyway,
Well,
it used to be like quite.
You can still do that now, but it depends on the base size because now you got to be with
Exactly.
incoherency. So
It was quite an advanced tactic. People, the top players used to do it all the time. I used to love it.
that's probably why I've heard of it, Steve.
Yeah. But anyway, and it just stops you kind of moving back freely. So tri-pointing or wrapping your unit. Okay, what's a t-shirt save?
T-shirt save.
Oh, they've only got a t-shirt save.
Like a jackal. Just
Yeah.
like 5 up, 6 up.
6 up save, like
Well, jackal's
terrible.
got 6 up, yeah. Just polystyrene armor.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, what's a vectora?
A vectora is something that reduces your, or increases, the cost of your opponent's stratagems.
Nice.
So if it's something that costs you 1 CP, if you're normally within 12, it's in that vectora and it increases that stratagem by 1 CP.
All right. What is I suppose, and also off the back of that, you've also got like CP manipulation.
Yeah.
Maybe you've got a captain that makes things cheaper or whatever.
Yeah.
Rabute Gulliman. Okay, you didn't even know this one.
Go on.
You're whack. You're a whack player.
See, for me, that's a disrespect, but you're saying it's not a disrespect.
Well, it is a disrespect.
For me, if someone said to me, you're whack, that means I'm just like bad
Rubbish.
at the game. You're whack.
So whack means a player that wants to win at any cost. So they will list tailor. Another one, I need to put this in.
Whack.
So, for example, a list tailor is a sign of somebody that wants to win at any cost. So they're like, oh, what are you bringing, Lee, to the game on Tuesday?
Yeah, and then I'm just going to go and rig my list to be anti-infantry because I'm playing World Eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or you get to the gaming night, they're playing Tau, and they've already set the table up
Yeah.
with no terrain.
All right, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They're looking for, and they'll try and cheat if possible.
Yeah.
They want to win at any cost. All they care about is winning. They're not worried about having a good game. And again, this is not VT approved.
See, I'd call that a triad.
Triad, yeah, or whack,
is-
yeah. Triad is similar to whack, I suppose, is
Yeah.
kind of the new phrase, yeah.
Whack.
What's a whiff?
A whiff. When you've rolled your dice.
Back in the elevator
Yeah,
again.
back in there. Yeah.
You've had a whiff.
Yeah, SBD. Got your moment. Surprise. Whiffing.
Yeah.
When you roll dice, normally in high volume,
Roll all ones.
and they'll just roll straight ones.
Straight ones, yeah. Nothing's happened. Right. WYSIWYG.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah. Now, this is a lot less relevant in the current edition of the game.
Because War Gear's free now.
Yeah, War
Yeah.
Gear's free. But back in the day, you'd have to, like, if you wanted grenades, you actually used to have to model them on them.
Yep.
Or you had to exactly have the models
Exactly.
with the exact equipment that you've purchased for them.
Yeah,
So
which
now
makes sense.
And also now a lot of the weapons are a bit more generic.
Yeah.
They're like veteran weapon. So whether they've got a lightning claw or a power sword, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But what you see is what you get. If you had equipped your unit with a las cannon, a heavy bolter, and this and that, you had to run them like that. Okay.
Right, exactly.
Right. You've yeeted it.
You just yeeted it.
Yeah. Do you know that phrase?
I've heard of yeeted. I'm trying to think of Warhammer. We just like full send.
Full send.
Just yeet your arm at the board.
Yeet it up there.
Or
full
it
send
could
it
be, you could whiff and you could yeet your dice tray.
out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, you full send it. It's your go turn.
Go
You just-
turn, full send,
Yeah.
yeet. Okay.
Yeah. And then the last one is zoning.
Zoning.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was struggling, to be honest, for Z, but there we go.
What's zoning?
So, like, you use units to place out and deny deep strikes and stuff. So I'm zoning out this area.
Oh, it's like a screen. But a
Yeah,
zone.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Like I said, I was struggling.
You just
mate.
made that up and whacked it in.
I did whack it in. I needed a...
Because
Yeah,
he's whack.
exactly. Well, anyway, that concludes the list. So if you do want to get this full dictionary, it will be in a download below that you can just pop your email address in and we'll pop and send it to you. If you've got any great ones, please add them below and we'll do our best to get those added to the dictionary. But hopefully you feel a lot more, immersed
Yeah, yeah.
in the Warhammer 40,000 language.
I am, yeah. Whacking it, whiffing it.
You're waffing it, you're a whacker.
Oh, yeah.
But there is one more thing.
Go on.
Sometimes you see numbers, right? So you might go, oh, my save is, I've got a 2 up, 4 up, or like a 2 plus, 4 plus plus, and then a 5 plus plus plus. What is that?
That is your armor save, your invulnerable save, and your fear no pain.
Yep. So the first plus is an armor. If you've got 2 pluses, it means it's your invulnerable save,
Yeah.
and 3 pluses, you feel no pain. Anyway, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this one, and we'll see you back on another chat show soon.
See y'all soon.
Cheers, then, Lee.
Yeah, yeah.
See you later, everyone.
Bye.